Isn't it weird to think that this is going to be the last video that I upload in the entire decade? The last video that I'm recording this decade is this very one right now. That is a weird thought. Because as stuff goes by and as time passes and everything, we sit down and we're like, oh, it's the end of a decade. Like, that's such a big thing. And in a lot of ways it is, but in other terms, it means fucking nothing. Just because the decade is ending, like, it's this, like, you wake up tomorrow and it'll be the exact same thing. But there's a lot of psychological stuff that comes with the ending of a year every single year. And the ending of a decade is an even bigger thing because we put these limits and these boundaries and these priorities and these objectives on ourselves to keep ourselves going, to give ourselves purpose, to give ourselves drive and motivation to figure out what we want to do next, what we want to leave behind, and what we want to change. But as we leave 2019, as we leave the decade, we hope that what we've done is something of worth, something of value, something we can look back upon fondly and do even better the next time around. It's a good reset switch, and I'm really leaning into that this time. Because 2019 was a pretty good year for me. It was very up and down, but I think at the end of it, I have a net positive gain. That being said, there are some things that happened in 2019 that I am extremely proud of and really enjoyed, and I want to go over those. I want to do a look back on 2019, because I do this every year. Most YouTubers do. They do the recap of 2019, but this is also a recap of kind of the decade as well, so it's probably going to get a little long-winded. Grab some snacks, pull up a chair, get your exercise balls. I don't know what you're going to do. Watch this in the fucking bath for all I care. Just don't drown yourself. I made up a little list for myself because I'm terrible at remembering things, and list making and organization is something that I want to get better at going into 2020. But let's go down through some of the things that happened on the channel. Some of the series we've had on the channel this year are Resi 2, my personal favorite game of 2019. It was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. It's very, I hate saying this, it's very video gamey. It has some like really arcadey elements to it that really made it fun to come back and play consistently and constantly, and I had so much fun doing it, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as well. We had Death Stranding, very divisive game that came out this year. I loved it. I thought it was great. But the series itself, I had a great time playing. It was a nice just kind of like shut off your brain for some times and just chat and hang out kind of game, and I'm really glad you guys like that as well. We had Minecraft, of course. Can't believe it took me until 2019 to play Minecraft properly for the first time, and I fucking loved it. It was so much fun. It was just a sandbox. Here, go, create whatever you want. I'm not the most creative person in the world. I don't look at like a pile of Legos and go, oh, I could build this. My brain just shuts off when it gets too much stimulus. When it gets too much input, it shuts down, and my creative side kind of turns off because there's too much going on and just, But Minecraft was a great source of creativity for me. I'm so glad that I was able to build a castle and my own little Ireland and come up with fun little narratives and names and locations and all that kind of stuff, and I liked the series a lot. We had Kindergarten 2, a gangbuster as well. Got to bust out the voice acting, got to have fun with that. I really like that. We had meme time, became a really big thing on the channel this year, which I know not everyone is into the meme stuff and everyone just wants their video games all the time because that's what I'm known for, but I like branching out. I like doing different things, and meme time seemed like a good way of doing that because a lot of other people were doing meme series and I really wanted to interact with the community more, and it just seemed like a really great crossroads for a lot of different things. And it allowed me to just kind of fuck around and improv a couple of jokes, and the same with the funniest home videos kind of stuff. I like that because it's a different form of content, and I like changing it up. I like trying out new things. They're not crazy unique or anything like that, but it's something that keeps recording fun for me, and if I don't keep it fun for myself, I'm not going to enjoy doing it anymore. So those kinds of series are the things that have kept me going. We had Nostalgia Week, capping off the year, which was so fucking fun. I had so much fun going back and seeing all these old games, and it was a really great sort of mental exercise as well. Part of me wanted to recreate what it was in the heyday and do the same kinds of things, and some of that bled through, but I think it was nice going back and playing them as me now, as Sean in 2019. Hindsight's 2020, and that's the year we're going into. Get ready for a lot of those fucking jokes. Can't wait. Isn't it weird how tomorrow's video, I haven't seen you guys in a whole decade? Oh, Chase. The Chase video came out this year, and it's one of those videos that I'm really, really proud of. If you look at it, you're like, oh, 4-minute video. It's like, this doesn't seem that hard or anything, but there's a lot that went in behind that kind of video. Not just the video itself, but the lore and everything that's being built up on the channel for years now at this point. It's been like 3 years since like anti-stuff or ego stuff or any of that kind of stuff happened. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you're going to be completely lost for what I'm saying. But we've had these characters on the channel that have kind of sprouted up out of nowhere from the community, and I've taken them and fully embraced them and tried to turn them into something so much more. And that again has been another really great crossroads for me, because I've always really been into video games. Are my number one passion in life. I fucking love them. If I'm not recording video games and doing them for my job, I'm just playing them in my spare time. I cannot stop thinking about video games all the time because they're amazing. They're a super great source of motivation and inspiration and creativity and just turning off your brain. And I love video games so much. They've meant so much to me my entire life growing up, and as a kid they were a great escape from what was a really boring, shitty life. And just to be able to do more with them these days, to not have to go to a 9-to-5 regular job and then come home and be like, oh, I don't really have time to play games now. To actually be able to fully embrace them into every facet of my life has been one of the greatest gifts that I feel like I've been given in my entire life, and I do not take it for granted at all. But the other passion that I have in life is movies. Now, I'm not someone who knows how to make a movie. I will hopefully try. I'm not someone who really knows how to write a script, but I will hopefully try. I'm not someone who knows the ins and outs of all the details of how movies are made and stories and all that kind of stuff. But I know what I like, and I know what works, and I know what doesn't work. And I'd like to think that I have a pretty good sense for narrative, pacing, editing, story structure, characters, all of that kind of stuff. And anytime I go to the movies, I have a lot to say about different types of movies. And I come out and I kind of review them with my friends, and we kind of get into conversations about them, and I love doing that. So when it comes to the Chase video, that was a really happy marriage of me being able to tap into this other side of me that I have really enjoyed for a very long time and have had so many ideas for, and then getting to put them out on camera and collaborate with Tucker on it and really create something that was very, very cool and unique. Uploading that video and waiting for people's reactions, I premiered that video, which I've never premiered anything else on the channel. Except, unless you count like the live streams as premieres because they're scheduled ahead of time. But this was something that I premiered, and I was so nervous. It's the most nervous I have ever been in regards to my work. And that sounds silly, but I really, really was, because it was something that was so different than what I normally do, and I just really wanted people to like it. And thankfully people really did and were really into it. And I got so many people, like even personal friends, said they watched it and they were like, I need to know more. Like, what's going on? Who's this character? And that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what I wanted this to set up and start. And the Chase video is the start of, I mean, it started a long time ago. It started back in 2016. But this is the first time when I've really tried to fully put a stamp on the narrative and be like, okay, here's plot points. This is where this shit is going. And next year is something that I'm going to sit down, and that's a really big goal of mine next year, is to craft the Egoverse properly. It's been something that I've been teasing for a long time. I've tapped into it here and there, and I've laid some of the groundwork, and there's a lot of stuff going on in it. And again, if you haven't been into this stuff, you've probably missed a whole shit ton of stuff. So when the Chase video came out, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Who's Chase? Is that a JoJo reference? Next year, I turned 30. And not only are we ending out this decade of the 2010s era, but going into 2020 is when I start the actual next phase of my life. You have all these different phases, and it comes in 10-year chunks. I'm in a really good place mentally. I feel like I'm ready to start this next phase and really start discovering who I really am, what my voice is, and just where it's all going. I'm not as insecure as I once was. I'm not as worried as I once was. I'm not as anxious as I once was. So I think this is a really good turning point for me personally, to be able to do more confidently and not really worry about what's going on in the background. And I get to share it all with you as well and bring you all along. And I think that we can craft something really, truly special. Ooh, fun fact about that, and it actually ties into the next thing that I want to talk about. is that after the chase video went up, okay, this is gonna sound like I'm trying to brag or anything. I promise you it's not. This is just something that's really cool that happened that I lost my fucking fanboy mind over. After the chase video went up, I was so relieved after being so nervous that people wouldn't like it or would like it or how are they going to react or where's it going to go. And then all of you loved it. I was like, okay, thank God. And then that night, I got a DM on Twitter from Ryan Reynolds himself saying that I was an amazing actor. And I fucking lost my mind. He's one of the people that I look up to most in the world and really just enjoy everything that they do and highly respect and really think they're at the top of their game when it comes to just being a genuine person. And to hear that from him meant so fucking much to me. And it like brought tears to my eyes and everything. I don't know how to describe it. It was a really great feeling. Again, tying into the other stuff that happened this year was that I got to do a lot of the celebrity interviews, which have been so much fun to do. It's so outside my comfort zone. It's so completely different than what I do normally, but it's been such a great way of interacting with this movie world that I love so much already. My main goal for those interviews and some of the other interviews I've done this year is to humanize things. That's why I did my tour. The story behind the tour was about humanizing what it is to be a YouTuber and interacting with the humanized elements of an audience instead of everyone just being one giant number and treating them as statistics. Doing the interviews with like Aaron, Matt Mercer and Troy Baker was all about having a human conversation, not asking just about work, not asking just about where you grew up and things like that. Those questions come in naturally, but it's about humanizing them to people. I wanted to get in and ask some different types of questions. I didn't want to... Sure, you have to sit in and you have to ask the general questions about the movie because you're technically there to promote the movie on your channel. That's the like give and take of it all. But at the same time, I like asking about them. Because I remember two specific interviews. One was with Ryan Reynolds again, and another one was with Chris Evans. And they talked about anxiety and fears and worries. And when you see people like this, you tend to think they have no fear. They have no worry. They have no anxiety because they're at the top of their game. Chris Evans is fucking Captain America. And Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. And The Rock is The Rock. I look at them that way. And then some people said the exact same thing to me about getting up on stage and doing a show and doing YouTube and everything. And that was the impetus for the show, was because of conversations like that. And I'm like, no, I have no idea what I'm doing. I just yell all the time and have fun and hope that people watch, and I am riddled with worries and anxiety and fears all the fucking time. So doing the interviews then, this all sounds very fucking high and mighty and high horse and everything, but I promise that's not the reason for doing them. I just really like conversation. I like how people tick. I like how they work. I like hearing just more about them as people. So doing that was a great way of crossing that path too with movies and that kind of conversational aspect that I really like. Kind of humanizing them and asking them about their worries and their anxieties and what they do to unwind and getting to know them more as people rather than just them as movie stars. And I know a lot of that can seem like gloating and like lording it over your heads and be like, look how great I am. I promise that's not what I'm trying to do. It's hard to talk about these things without making it seem like you're bragging. It's just been a really cool thing to be able to do. And I feel very, very fortunate that I do get to do it. And I just wanted to show that gratitude and appreciation for it. And hopefully there's some information in there and some sort of entertainment in them that you guys get something out of it as well. And it's not just all about me getting to meet these cool people. But going from that then into the next thing I wanted to talk about with the Ryan Reynolds stuff was that I get to be in fucking Free Guy next year. The movie that Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy are doing, and Joe Keery's in it too, who I also fucking love. That movie's coming out next year, I think in July. And a lot of you have seen the trailer by now, but I'm going to be in the movie in some capacity, which is absolutely mind-blowing. That, again, I love the movie world and I love seeing how things work and getting involved in it and just... it's so cool. I love stories. I love worlds. I love like characters. Again, not trying to show off. It's just really fucking cool. I've talked a lot about cool shit that's been going on and cool series and stuff I've uploaded and everything. But the thing that I am most proud of this year is all of the charity efforts that we've been doing. I set out last year to do a charity stream every month. I didn't get to do it because I was touring at the same time. I went to LA for 3 months. I was going through a lot last year, more than I let on online because again, I had to figure that shit out for myself. In totality, through this year alone, we raised $1.6 million, which is no small amount of money. That is a fuck ton of money to be able to raise at all. But to be able to raise it for so many different great causes has been the highlight of my entire year. Since January of last year, so we did, 18 streams then total? We raised $2.8 million. We got very, very close to 3 million raised since last year, and that's all through the live streams, through the pins, through all the merch all year round. All of the merch this year, I haven't made a penny off. All of it has gone to all of the different charity events that we've been doing. In December alone, just gone, in this month alone, the stream we just did was our craziest stream ever by hitting $354,000 in 7 hours, I think, which is also absolutely bananas. To be able to sit down, like, all this other stuff is great. All this other stuff that I've talked about is wonderful and everything, but to be able to give something back in the middle of all of this other crazy stuff that's going on has been my proudest accomplishment and the thing that I've been most into all year long and probably in the entire decade. I vividly remember what it was like to start off doing YouTube and to have nothing. I was living on benefits from the government. I didn't want to work. I didn't have anything going for me. All I had was like my PC and my games. When stuff really started to take off, I felt so unbelievably fortunate, but also that I didn't deserve any of it. But all of the time doing YouTube, I've always wanted to give back and do more with what we have here, that I felt like the world had given me so much at a point, and it kept showering me with like all of this praise and being able to do YouTube, being able to play video games as my job and everything. I was like, okay, what's the fucking catch? Stop. So I always wanted to give back, and I think these charity efforts have been a great way of doing that because, again, I've gotten so much from you guys and the world and been very, very fortunate in what I do that I want to give back in some capacity and try and leave the world a good place and put some sort of a stamp on things and really try and make some efforts towards, I keep saying it in the streams, that we may not be able to change the world as a whole. The world as a whole has no idea the amount of charity efforts and money we've raised this year. But that does not mean that you shouldn't try. That we have this small slice of the internet for ourselves. We have this small slice of the world for ourselves here with this audience listening right now. We can do more with it. And I've always felt that way. And until last year, I really kicked my ass to just get into gear and actually do it. And I've tried to pick some organizations that really align with some of my core beliefs. We've done some suicide prevention charities. We've done some mental health charities. We've done some disability charities for people who are sick in hospitals and given them the ability to game while going through something difficult. Because again, video games meant a lot to me growing up and I was a fully able-bodied person. So to be able to give that gift to somebody who's going through something far more difficult than I ever did is amazing. And I've gone and I've seen some of the hospitals and just seen like the amount of really great work that people there are doing. We've done some stuff with Make-A-Wish, and I've met so many Make-A-Wish kids at this point who tell you their story, and it really opens up your mind and broadens it to the greater world and the afflictions that people are going through and what's really going on out there. And I really couldn't like turn a shoulder to that stuff anymore because so many people are going through so much. And I really just wanted to help out any way that I possibly could. But the real heroes when it comes to the charity stuff is all of you guys. Because I sit and I try and like entertain, or I try and bring a focal point to this thing every month, this charity and whatever's going on. But in reality, I'm just sitting there hoping that people are watching and hoping that they're listening and trying to encourage people to do a good thing. But you guys are the ones who have been doing the actual good thing. You've been the ones donating the money. That $2.8 million, the majority of that is all of you guys. If people really want to do a good thing, they just need to have some sort of reason or a voice or a point of focus to really do it. And I'm so glad that we were able to do that. And I want to continue doing stuff like that next year. I don't think I'll do one every month. And the YouTube community in general have raised this year has been nothing short of a fucking miracle. The amount of money that has been raised for charity this year is fucking mental. And I'm so, unironically, so proud of the YouTube community for that. And I really feel like the YouTube community should get the recognition that it deserves for the amount of good that it does. Because a lot of people look at YouTube and say like, oh, you have the shitheads of the world and they're doing all of this stuff for narcissism and for their own personal gain and selling merch and like swindling kids and being con artists and all that stuff. That stuff does exist, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, that is such a small sliver. It's just a very loud minority of the YouTube community. But the amount of good that YouTubers and YouTube itself does for people is outstanding. And that's why I'm very proud to be able to do this as my job, because the amount of good you can do with it and the amount of responsibility that's on you and what you like, the potential for it is bananas. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I'm really, really damn proud of all of the amazing charity efforts that you guys did this year and helped me with. So thank you. Honestly, just from the bottom of my heart, it's been amazing to see, and it made me proud to be a YouTuber. It made me proud to do this and have this community and just, I don't know. It's hard to put into words because it's so surreal, but just honestly, thank you very, very much. So what are the goals for 2020? What's the New Year's resolution? I don't think I have a resolution this year because I realized that putting one resolution on myself every year is very limiting. I can do so much more, and I don't think that I should have one core belief for the entire year, because let's face it, a year is a long time. Stuff changes day to day, month on month. You're going to be in a different headspace all the time. So next year, what I want to do is to just try more to be more creative. I want to try to craft something more creative personally and just do something that I can really put my stamp on, be super fucking proud of it, really just kind of blow the lid off what people think of me and what I am potentially able to do. I feel like I have so much more to give creatively and so much more to open up in my head that I really just haven't not tapped into at all yet. In regards to work ethic itself, I really not only want to work harder, but work smarter to really organize my time better. That's the other thing that I want to do. I need to organize my time better and be more creative within those hours that I craft for myself. I've really let a lot of stuff slide. My organizational skills in regards to my videos, my organizational skills in regards to my like personal life. Some of the rooms in my house are a fucking mess and I kind of just leave it there because I need to get a video done. I've let myself like health-wise deteriorate a lot in this latter half of this year. I'm probably the heaviest weight-wise that I've been. My tinnitus flared up and is fucking kicking my ass every single day. Overall, get myself back into, like, I'm not sad about it. I'm not upset about it. I'm not in a bad place mentally because of it, but I can be in a better place, I think, with not that much more effort. I'm good at getting my videos done, but all my other time management suffers for it. I'm very, I don't know, what's the thing I'm looking for? Whenever things have to be organized so well, it's overbearing on me and I just turn all of it off and I just organize nothing. So I want to get a little better at that and just, I need to. If I want to do the projects that I want to do next year, if I really want to write this ego thing and really make it something that I'm truly proud of, and if it turns out the way I want it to, it's going to take a lot of time and effort and hard graft to get that done and to a place that's worth showing. So I really need to take the time and focus. Another thing I've realized about turning 30 is that it's easier to know who I am first, be more confident in who I am, which in turn leads to being able to say no to a lot more. I don't want to be buried by audience pressure either. Because not to like shit on the audience or anything, because I just sang your praises about the charity stuff. 99.9% of you are absolutely amazing, will watch all the stuff I upload and are super supportive, and it's awesome. It's great. It's the best thing in the world because I can just do whatever I want and people are there like, yeah, good on you. But there's this small group of any audience that's large that are just kind of like a worm in the back of my head. And for so long, I've let that worm kind of eat up my brain apple and really just take up residence and really let it dictate how I'm doing a lot of things. So if you've ever seen me really get bummed out on what I'm doing or lose energy or really just not be in the mood, a lot of it is probably because of that, because I'm too much of a people pleaser and I really want people to like me. I don't know, something clicked this year where I'm like, I don't I don't care that much anymore. Because in my head, it was like, I think going to therapy helped a lot. I think in my head, it was, if I don't care about pleasing people in my audience all the time, that means I'm going to make bad videos or something. It was a really weird disconnect. And then as soon as I realized that, I'm like, that's not how it is at all. I really want to get better at just like pulling the lid off and just being like, what is in here? What can we do? Sure, gaming is the main thing that I do, but it shouldn't be the only thing that I do. It's so boring. And I've played so many shitty games this year just because, I need to play video games. It's like, nah, fuck that, man. Do whatever you want. Make whatever types of videos you want. If your audience really care about you and really want to be there for you and follow along, they will. I'm not going to stop doing games. That's not what I'm saying at all either. I just feel like there's so much more fun stuff that we can be doing, and then have games as like an extra fun thing in the week as well. So let's just, I don't know. Again, creative side. Let's explore that a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Let's just have a really fucking fun 2020. Let's go into that and just knock it out of the park and not have any sort of limits and boundaries on ourselves and what we can do and what we can make. And that goes for you guys as well. Like, make art, write stories, do fan fiction, make GIF edits, make video edits, do whatever the fuck you want. Just have fun with it. And even if no one looks at it and even if nobody watches it, who gives a shit? Just make it for yourself and have fun with it. That's what I want to do. I want to make cool shit. As I keep saying, I've done this for 7 years. I've ridden the high slope. I've had my moment in the sun where the channel was really fucking popping off and everyone was talking about it. It was great and numbers were huge. But I can't be chasing that golden goose all the time. Sometimes you need to, like I keep saying, climb another mountain. Figure out what else you can do. You don't just climb Everest and then go back home and be like, I did that, let's give up. Climb another mountain. See what else is out there for you. There's lots of mountains to climb. Anyway, this got very rambly and very all over the place, and I have no idea if it's a fucking cohesive video at all. But that was my 2019. The decade is wrapping up. I am so ready for the next decade, and not in any sort of like, fuck the last decade, I hate it, let's go on to the next one already. Because for me, this is the best decade of my life. This has been, without a doubt, the best 10 years I have ever existed on this earth. And I really want to remember the fucking great things that have happened. I started my YouTube channel this decade. I started it this year. I'm doing very well for myself. I started my channel this decade. Fuck! Like, every one of you who are watching this video only found out about me or even know me because of this decade. All the stuff that I have right now in my life, everything in this room, the house that I'm in, the people that I know, the friends that I have, are all because of this exact decade. It's so bizarre to think about. So there is no way that I could say that this has been a bad decade. This is a fucking 20 out of 10 decade for me. It's been phenomenal, and I'm so grateful for it. I have so much energy and life and love and positivity to give that I'm just ready to hug every fucking person in the world and have fun. I've dwelled in the last 2 years, stuff started to get a little too like this year alone. I know I said I'm going to end the video, but I'm going to drop some more on you, because if you're fucking here, you're here. This year is the most businessy I have ever thought about doing my YouTube channel, and I hate it. That started this process of thinking about numbers and metrics and analytics and titles and thumbnails and descriptions and all this shit that I didn't really think about that much before, because I was just having fun with it and it didn't matter. And I don't like that I've started to go down that road this year. There's nothing wrong with looking at metrics to make sure that your channel is healthy and happy and going in a good direction. It's a very good way of keeping things going. But if you're creating for the metrics, you're not creating for fun. And that was the divide that I started to realize was happening to me this year. And I don't like that. I don't want to be that. So 2020, it'll be an interesting year. I'm very, very excited to see what happens. I'm excited to turn 30. I don't know. I have this really great coming out of the water feeling where I'm like, I'm finally ready to just breathe and run. I don't know, it's hard to describe, and I have no idea what the turning point was for me, but I'm just so ready. Anyway, that does it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you watched the whole thing, you're an absolute trooper. I rambled a lot, but that's what these videos are for. Who cares? It's free content. Why would you fucking complain about it? If you want to complain about free content that YouTubers are uploading on the internet, just go somewhere else. Not to say you can't criticize if someone does something bad, but at the same time, I see so many people criticize such inconsequential content on YouTube. Not even mine, everybody's. And I'm like, oh God, You're sitting at home, not doing anything else, and you're the one who spent your time watching this. What am I talking about? I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope that you had a fantastic holiday season. If you don't celebrate Christmas, that's absolutely fine. The Christmas time of year is just a great time anyway, because everyone's in a much better mood. Everyone's ready to be cozy and nice. But I really hope that you had a great year. And if you didn't, I am very sorry to hear that. And I hope that next year treats you better. And if it doesn't, then try for the next year. And if that doesn't, keep on trying. That's the most important part. Let the cards fall where they are, pick them up, and carry on. As long as you keep trying and keep fighting and keep moving, that's the important part. That means you're trying your best and no one can ask better of you. I also hope that you have a really great New Year's. Please take care of yourselves. Be safe, drink responsibly, don't drink and drive, all of that good stuff. Do not do... If you want to do some drugs or this is going down a dark path. Just be safe, please, for the love of God. We see so many stories every year of people going overboard on New Year's because they want to go into the next year a better person, so they feel like they have to do a shitty thing at the end of the year to contrast it and just get it out of the system. Just be responsible. If you're celebrating on your own, I hope that you have a great time anyway. Being on your own does not mean... is not a bad thing. I spent a Christmas on my own 2 years ago. It was miserable. I felt super depressed, but I came out of it clearer. It had a very good purpose because I needed to go through that, and people need friction. People need a struggle. Life is about struggles, but overcoming them. Life is Bloodborne. Can you believe we got the best game ever this decade? Apart from Shadow of the Colossus, but I played Bloodborne a lot more. But yeah, I hope that you just had a good year. And if not, I hope 2020 is better. And I hope that this decade is a really great decade for you. Try some new stuff. Test your boundaries, test your limits, get outside your box, get outside your comfort zone, and just have fun with it. Just have a really great decade. Some of you are probably coming into your more formative years this decade, and that is a great time to discover yourself. Just go out there and see what you have to offer the world. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next decade.